Howdy folks. I'm going to be making a video today as a video response to Daniel Shore. Danny said he's doing for a 100 sub contest. He wanted to know basically how we smoke our pipes. And he said that he doesn't have the advantage that some of us do of hanging out with other pipe smokers, where you can kind of pick up on things from other people. So he was hoping that he could use his 100 sub contest to be able to interact with people and kind of see one-on-one, like maybe different techniques or different ways that people smoke their pipes. So I really like the contest idea, and I know that there's 100 videos out there of people showing how to smoke a pipe, but there's also always new people coming on board. So it's always good to kind of continually put this information out there, and different people have different techniques. So my technique, I don't really have a set. Like I don't follow the rules of certain methods or whatever. But it's what works for me, and it might work for some people. Other people it might not. So he wanted us to show the pipe that we're smoking. So today I'm going to be using my Philip Rivara 2013 St. Patrick's Day pipe that my lovely bride bought for me this past St. Patrick's Day. And the size and shape of the pipe, I'm not exactly sure. I'm guessing that's probably about a 7/8 bowl. It is, however, it's a real deep bowl. A lot of Phil's pipes are, you can see that's a two knuckles deep for. It's a pretty deep bowl. And in it, I'm going to be smoking some Bayou Nights from Strauss. Now, how I pack my pipe, I don't really do a whole fancy shaking a baby's hand, or shaking, or that kind of thing, or 1 pinch, 2 pinch, 3 pinch. Here's my bag and here's my pipe. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. I just kind of take my pipe and stick it in the bag and scoop it up. Maybe as I'm scooping, I'll use my finger to kind of help shove it in there. Now, of course, you're not wanting to pack it too terribly tight, because you do want to have a good draw as you're smoking. So. Alright, I just kind of scooped it in there with my fingers up to the top of the bowl. Now you can see here it's a little springy still, okay? And as you kind of draw and just test it, you can hear still it's still got a really good draw. So that's it for packing the pipe. I don't put a whole lot of thought into it. I just kind of take the tobacco and shove it in there, and I don't know if maybe just I packed enough pipes that I kind of have a feel of what's comfortable for me. After you've been smoking a while, you just kind of know. It's a little springy, but it's not too tight. So you just want to make sure you got a good draw. And then as far as lighting it goes, generally that's it for me. I do have some Zippo pipe lighters, and those work well also. But with the Zippo pipe lighter, you're just kind of holding it above the bowl, and then when you draw, you're pulling the flame down into the bowl. I like the Bic because you can point it right at the tobacco, and you can kind of direct where your flame is going. Alright, so let's go ahead and get it lit. I'm going to scoot you a little bit this way so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Alright. Now, you want to avoid, especially if you've got a pipe with a real fancy finish on your rim, you want to avoid scorching the rim. So what you're doing, you're pointing into the bowl, and as you're lighting, you're also drawing in to pull the flame into the bowl so it's not hitting the rim. And then when you release that draw, you also want to release the light, so you're not, so that you're not holding the flame onto the rim of the bowl. Okay, so it'll be something like this. All right. So you do that kind of around the surface until you got the surface lit. Okay, and that's what a lot of people call the char light. Now, here's where my technique might differ from a lot of people. When I tamp after the char light, I use a check tool or those tamping nails. And the reason I do that instead of just a regular cylindrical type plunger tamper is because I'm not just pushing the tobacco down in there. I'm actually, when I tamp, I'm actually tamping from around the sides like this. Okay? And by having that edge, you can kind of get down in there, okay? And by doing that, and by tamping around the edge, you're actually kind of creating a bit of like a dome, all right? So your tobacco in your chamber, it's similar to like the end of a cigar where it's kind of a little bit rounded. Alright, so, and then you relight. And after you relight, it'll kind of take some of that shape away that you made with your tamper, so you can go back in and kind of reshape it a little bit. And that shape, pushing that down in around the edges like that, I found that helps, for me anyway, to keep that tobacco burning evenly all the way down. Okay, so that should be lit, and that should burn all the way down to the bottom of the bowl. And like you'll hear anybody say, it's not always perfect, it's not always a science. So if it does go out and you have to relight, it's not that big a deal. But once you start smoking it, another thing, if you want to keep it from going out, you want to keep drawing on it. So, like in the case of making videos or having a conversation, the more you talk, the less you're going to draw. So, what I tend to try and, like, especially if I'm just smoking my pipe, if I'm not talking, I tend to try and keep a constant draw on the pipe. And since I'm not using my lungs to draw on the pipe, and I'm just using the muscles of my cheek and tongue and pulling the smoke into my mouth, you can also breathe through your nose while you're doing that. So you just kind of keep drawing. And you're pulling it in and puffing it out. And then you can also retrohale. And in doing that, what I tend to do is, because you don't want to blow out your nose with the pipe in your mouth, because you'll end up blowing through your air hole and back out your pipe as well. And so you'd end up not retrohaling as well. So either when you retrohale, it's either easiest just to take the pipe out of your mouth, and then you can retrohale, or get little pieces in there, or if you and get it going here good. Okay, when you draw in, then you can cover the tip of the stem with your tongue and block the air hole, and then you can breathe out your nose. See? Now this is all for those of you that aren't familiar with retrohaling. This is not going into my lungs and then out my nose. This is just, of course, because your nasal passage is all connected, in your sinuses and your throat, the back of your mouth and stuff. So it's all kind of one cavity going on in there. And by keeping your airway closed and not going into your lungs, well, I guess it's not really closed because you're breathing out, but you're breathing out through your nose, and that air movement coming from your lungs and out through your nose is drawing the smoke that's in your mouth as well and pulling that and pushing it out your nose. But you're not actually taking the smoke into your lungs. But this was not a video about retrohaling. It was about how to smoke a pipe, how to light it, how to pack it. Now, as you get, when it starts burning real good, you can see the ash there. You want to take your tamper periodically, and this you can kind of tell just by feel alone, and how the draw, when the draw starts to, it gets a little weak and a little bit loose, and you're not feeling that same constriction of air. It probably needs a little bit of a tamp. So again, pushing this down, I'm going around the edges, okay? I'm not actually mushing it in the middle. Like, I see a lot of videos, and, if this works for you guys, that's great, but I see a lot of videos where people just take a tamper and just kind of, tamp it down in there. And if that works for you, that's great, but I think that this kind of going around the edges like this, this is how I learned how to do it years ago, and it's worked for me ever since. And you can see, you know, that it's a very even burn, the whole surface. When I draw, you can see the glow is the whole surface is still lit, and it's not just like one side or the other. And I think that going around the edges like that really helps out with that. So now I've gone on for like 15 minutes, but Daniel wanted us to not only light the pipe and smoke it, or not only light the pipe and get it going, but sit and smoke it for a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. I'm actually in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I just finished unloading. I mean, you can see my hair's all messy. I just finished unloading the whole trailer full of stuff, and I'm wore out. I'm about to hit the hay. But I figured nice pipe before I did would be alright. And this would be a good chance to make a video for Danny's contest. Daniel, congratulations on 100 subs, and thanks for having your contest. I think it was a really good idea. You know, just kind of the basics of how to smoke a pipe. Because you're going to get, you know, today's the last day for the contest, but some of the videos I've seen, you know, you're going to see all kinds of different... I just watched Eric's Random World, you know, and he showed how he smokes a flake. And so that's, you know, that's good information for, you know, when you want to smoke a flake. This, I just use a regular loose cut, plain old basic pipe tobacco. And that's a technique that's going to be, you know, that's probably the type of tobacco that's going to be most common that you use. So, but just keep a continuous draw on it. And if you're making a video or having a conversation, the more you talk and the less attention you pay to your pipe, the more likely it's going to go out if you just kind of let it sit. So I tend to try to not let it just sit. I don't like an idle pipe. Try saying peas with a pipe in your mouth, you get ash all over your rim. That's it. That's smoking a pipe. And that sucker smokes too. I'll tell you what, Danny, you should get you a Phil Rivara pipe. Anybody else watching this, if you don't have a Phil Rivara pipe yet, I don't want to make this a Phil Rivara commercial, but he makes a hell of a pipe. As you can see, it smokes like a son of a gun. You also, I mean, depending on the type of tobacco you've got, this Bayou Night doesn't seem to be doing too bad. I'm getting no tongue bite, and I'm chugging on this thing. So, wait, maybe I should choose my words carefully with the bears out there. No, I'm not chugging my pipe. But when you are puffing on your pipe, it's a fine balance that, you know, you want to draw strong enough and continuously enough to keep the pipe going, but you don't want to draw too hard and give yourself tongue bite, you know, and get the embers in there going too hot. So, but right now, at least on this Bayou Night, I'm not getting any tongue bite at all. This is it's in English. Good stuff. Alright. What am I coming up on? 20 minutes? I hope that's enough smoking for you. Danny, thanks for having your contest. and we'll catch y'all next time. See ya. Oh, smoke 'em up.